It's great. It's a great time. Anyway. What? Steven! Oh my god!
Hey!
You're here already?
Oh, already? I feel like I'm late.
Yeah.
I mean... What's up, Steven?
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, Bray. Alright.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel, you guys. This is Race Car Refresh episode number 2. For those of you that are new to the channel, I had a 1JZ Swap 350Z. It makes about 340 wheel horsepower, and I drift with this car. But when I was doing this swap originally, I did cover it on my YouTube channel as well, but honestly, like, it was just a really messy swap because I was learning as I was building. And I was literally learning how to wrench, so it was kind of messy, and I really don't feel safe in this car anymore, so I decided to take the 1JZ out of the car recently, and we are going to completely refresh everything and then put the engine back in the car so that I can do some upgrades like running E85. I'm probably going to change my turbo setup. We got a couple of things going on. So if you're new, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below. And today what we're going to do is we're going to basically walk you guys through everything that I've done to get my JZ into my 350Z, have it up running and driving and drifting. So I'll walk you guys through the swap kit that I have, the wiring harness that I have. We're going to actually go and buy some fuel lines today and buy a couple other parts to upgrade on this car. Should be a good time. Welcome. Yay. I should go get my dog because he's crying.
Yeah, poor Cam.
Alright, so really quick, I do want to run you guys through the very basics of all the stuff that I have to get this swap into the car up and running. I will obviously be showing you guys everything exactly what we're doing so you guys can get more of the technical information, but for those of you that are here for the quick, like, you know, minute and 30 seconds worth of information that you want, here you go. I have the Collins adapter kit for the 1JZ to the CD trans. I wanted to keep the CD09 transmission because it's a pretty strong transmission. It works really well, and a lot of people usually like to use the CDs with the JZs. So when you get the Collins adapter kit, this is your adapter plate right here, and this is going to scoot your shifter further back. Now Collins does provide you with this shifter setup right here, and it's supposed to scoot it forward quite a bit, but it's still going to be further back than it usually is. I'm really nervous about Cam right now. Cam, come inside, please. I do like the Collins adapter kit very much. It works really well. You also are going to get these engine mounts with the Collins adapter kit so that you can just put whatever engine mounts that you want for a 350Z onto this part of your motor, and then you'll be able to put it in the car, right? So that's how you're gonna be able to make the JZ with the CD trans to have my exact setup. I also got my pulleys from Drift Motion. So I got very shiny pulleys here. I just like all the polished finished things. And I did a really good refresh on this engine when I originally got it. So I'm still running the stock intake manifold on this car and the stock throttle body. My exhaust manifold on the other end is from Drift Motion as well. And I was running a Drift Motion turbo, but I'm actually going to be upgrading my turbo. I had the 6262 kit for this engine, and it honestly just wasn't spooling fast enough for me, so I'm going to be upgrading my turbo in this build. The wiring harness is from Wiring Specialties. Wiring Specialties harness is pretty nice because it comes like, it's all the work is done for you. This is literally going to save you like hours and hours and hours worth of work. They've got everything already set up and nice and loomed. It's a really clean wiring harness setup, and you tell them exactly what you have and what you want, and then they just do it for you, and it's great. And then I'm also running a Haltech ECU. So that's kind of it. You just put the engine in the car after that, and it runs. So one other thing that you guys do need to know is if you are going to JZ swap your 350Z, obviously the inline 6 is longer than the V6, so your transmission is going to be scooted back like I talked about earlier, so your transmission's not going to sit in the exact same location that it used to. So I have this transmission brace. This is from Collins. I love this transmission brace so much that I actually run it on my other car. It's one of my favorite things on my car aside from the engine, obviously. And then another thing that you need to know is that now your drive shaft has to be shortened because you're running out of room. So I actually got my drive shaft shortened at a place called Drive Shaft Shop in LA.
Drive Shaft Shop.
Yep, I practiced
Say that 10 times fast.
No, I practiced it to make sure that I wasn't going to stumble on my words. So make sure that you get your drive shaft shortened, or you get a smaller drive shaft if you want. But I got mine shortened, so make sure you do that because you're running out of space. One tricky part about this swap is that the JZ is a return fuel system versus the Z is a returnless fuel system. So you're gonna have to route a fuel return line. So that's what we have right here on my fuel pump. Yeah, we literally just drilled a hole right here to route the fuel return line, and then this is your stock fuel feed line. So you're gonna have to route that all the way underneath the car to be able to return the fuel back.
That's okay because gasoline cleans it, you know?
Ew. Dude, that's painful.
I'll try not to get blood on your seat now.
Oh my god. There's so much gas. This is literally a full tank. Ah! Is this still connected to this line down here? I think I have to take this off. I just don't know how. Right? I have to take this off of this?
I believe so. I think it's for the other side.
Yeah. I need a flathead. Oh, just kidding.
Me?
I thought I needed a flathead, but my nails are working. I'm gonna break my nail right now. Can I have a flathead? Oh, there's my little pump. Ah! Ah!
Careful.
Ah!
Another drip.
Okay. There's the pump.
Cool. He's recording the gas dropping. No, the gas dropping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's relevant.
Cool. Don't do this with a full tank.
Don't do it.
Thanks for the advice, Steven.
Yeah.
So literally a full tank. That's because the last time that I tried to go to the track, I filled my tank because, you know, gas. And then I only drove like 2 laps, and then I realized that my turbo gasket was blown, and I gave up for the day. So, great time. Now we're here.
Job well
Full
done.
tank of gas. So we're running into a little bit of an issue because we wanted to run a bigger fuel feed line.
Yeah. So here's your pump, and there's a feed line coming out of the pump, which exits here to go to the engine. So the thing is, she's trying to go for more power and a physically larger pump. I don't know for sure if the pump will fit, but getting this to be a Dash 8 size and the fitting that we need, I would have to chop pretty much all this off, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. That's what I've seen before done. And I think it'd be not worth it to do that because then we run into risk of like plastic failing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They do sell aftermarket fuel pump hanger assemblies already for higher horsepower applications. So I think that might be our best bet.
Oh, like this one.
Something like this one, yeah. So we're thinking about doing that instead and make it easier for everybody.
It's probably safer too.
It's,
because
yeah,
already
for sure
built
safer.
that.
Race car things.
We will. So.
I gotta order more parts.
If not, it's fine.
I don't think I do. Because I don't think I have one.
Could you sell that?
Steven got it.
Alright, back to regularly scheduled programming. We're gonna go pick up some upgrades from Turbo Joe that he really wants me to throw on this engine and in this car before I bring it back to him so that he can make more power when he tunes my car. Joe just wants me to make a whole lot of power and I'm not down.
All the power.
He wants me to make like 700 wheel. I'm like, I'm capping at 550. I don't want to do any more than 550.
All power.
But he's a tuner, he knows best, so we'll go pick those up with Joe.
What's up, Joe? How are you? Turbo Joe.
You caught me like in the middle of when I was actually working hard,
Oh no.
Should I have documented that?
moving heavy equipment around.
Yeah, it was moving all the stuff.
Yeah,
I need parts.
too much work. Okay.
Dang, this is good. Here's my fuel pump.
So you ready to go upgrades?
E85, that's what you said, right?
E85, that's for sure. More boost, more
Okay.
power.
Alright,
Right.
I'm ready. What do we have? What is the damage? What is
So
this?
here's the upgrade number 1. We'll go with the Volvo Hellcat 525.
Okay.
This pump will flow or support approximately 1,091 of regular gas. About 650 to 700 on E85 by itself.
Okay.
So I think that pretty much covers everything we want to accomplish since you're going to be on a stock engine.
Exactly.
We're not going to try to go past 600 mark.
No.
So this pump will help us accomplish that.
I'm excited to make some more power.
Sure.
I'm very excited.
Thanks,
I can't
Joe.
wait to bring you the car. I'm so excited now.
All right, thank you guys for stopping by.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. way. I'm gonna forget. Thanks. It's all good. Come on, man, go.
Come on.
Go. Sit back, Cam. I'm trying to star in my video.
Relax.
Cam is in the video. Where the hell's the guy at? Cam's in. You know. Every once in a while, you really have to ask yourself a question, and that question would be, why? Why would this guy be repainting this wall pink?
Maybe they like pink. The whole house is pink too.
Maybe we can buy that house for Colette, and she can park her car in the driveway, and it'll match
Yes.
the freaking car.
Yep. That's not bright enough for her though. It needs neon yellow.
Lord have mercy.
Steven.
Hey, buddy.
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
Cam. Hello.
What's up, you guys? It's been a couple days. I was waiting on parts, so while I was waiting on parts, I decided to get my engine bay painted over at Duraglow. It looks awesome. There's a lot of flake in it. I'm really excited about that. But I also went and visited one of my sponsors, Turbo Joe, a couple of days ago and picked up a bunch of stuff from him. We got a lot of stuff to fuel the car, and it was very expensive. we went and picked up the upgraded fuel pump, so we got a Walbro 455? 485? It was 455. Okay, no, we got a Hellcat fuel pump. We got a fuel pressure regulator in the mail. We also got a flex fuel sensor. We got a bunch of stuff from Turbo Joe. So today we're gonna work on fueling, and we need to go and get my fuel lines. I wanna run hard lines so that I'm able to run 85 and everything is just much safer in this car. As I told you guys before, I'm trying to make this car safer than it was because it was a little bit scary once I tore into it. So in order to figure out the angles and everything that we need for the fuel lines, we have to test fit the engine. Because it's a really tight swap, it's a really tight engine bay to get everything in, so we have to figure out where we're gonna mount everything and everything like that. So we're gonna test fit the engine in the car right now, but we have to put the movers blanket on top of the engine because this paint is still pretty new and I don't wanna mess it up.
Should we cut to some cool B-roll of the paints?
Yes, yes, let's do that. So see that line right there with the bump in it right next to the bell housing? That is like one of your biggest problems with this whole
It's so
engine
close.
swap. Yeah, it's so close. So when you're putting the engine in the car with the transmission, it always looks like it's not gonna clear the line. You don't actually have to do anything with that line. It's just having an engine leveler helps a lot because you can tilt the engine back and forth so that you can maneuver your way around it.
Hey, that looks
Hustle that booty.
that looks really good. So we get to go home now. Everything's good.
Boy,
We're out of here.
When do we turn her over?
Right now.
in like 5 minutes.
I'm gonna flip it over right now.
Enter JV.
You like my shirt? It's too easy. Yeah. I just got it yesterday. Booty hustlers. So we have the engine test fitted in the car right now. We did this because we have a lot of things to mount a lot of places, and where these get mounted is very important because then that's how we're going to determine which exact angles we need for our fuel lines and how much fuel line we need and all that kind of stuff. So we had to put the engine in the bay just to see where everything's gonna fit because like I always say, this is a very tight swap. You have very limited amount of space. So we need to be able to see where we're gonna mount our flex fuel sensor and our fuel pressure regulator so that we can then go and get the fuel lines for this.
Steven?
Yep.
Yep.
He concurs.
So this is our flex fuel sensor. This needs to be accessible enough for Joe so that he's able to plug it and unplug it and do whatever he needs to do with this for us to be able to run E85. So we want this to be in a place that we can reach it pretty easily because like I said, we're trying to make this car as easy to work on as possible. So this is probably gonna get mounted somewhere down here, like in the chassis so that everything's accessible. We got a lot of clearance on this side. This is the fuel pressure regulator and we want to be able to see this gauge. Steven actually came up with a really good idea. I was originally trying to mount this to the chassis and Steven was like, why don't we mount it to the intake manifold? There's a lot of little holes in here and stuff for screws. So we're actually going to mount this right about here so that it's tucked up against the intake manifold. And then this way, we don't really have to worry about it hitting anything. So we actually bent the crap out of the bracket that it came with to be able to mount it there and set. You bent the bracket.
Nice job, Steven.
With no vice. That was fun.
Just a hammer. Just a hammer.
Some ugga dugga.
Do you think it's good enough now?
Yeah, it should be.
Dang, I got mine in before you?
That's what he said.
Look at it, it's gonna be so pretty.
Is that what it's gonna look like, Steven?
Something like this. Once we bolt it down, it'll clamp and then it'll hold it right there.
Oh, she freaking wrote. We're fabricating,
Better
even though
than-
we don't have anything to fabricate anything.
Better than trying to twist this thick piece of steel with no vice or anything.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a fitting that can go on that. I believe it's 5/16, like a push-on fitting. You know, it's a hard line, I guess. It's off the fuel pressure, the old fuel pressure regulator.
Do you know what size it is?
5/16, so you get a 90 off. It's on the intake manifold. This is the intake manifold. This is resting like this. So the fuel line's gonna come out and go around like that. So.
Okay. 90. Cleaner. All right, let me start getting some. Like so.
Pretty much, yep.
Wow.
Nice and clean.
And in black, look at that.
And black.
So we picked up the fuel lines from VF Sales. We actually learned how to make hard lines and like how to attach all the fittings and everything to that. So that was super cool of them to teach us how to do that. But we got all the stuff that we need from VF Sales. We got all of our hard lines, all the fittings that we need, and now we've already mocked up where we want to place everything, like the flex fuel sensor, the fuel pressure regulator, all that kind of stuff. So right now what we're gonna do is pull the engine back out of the car so that we can mount everything clean, and then we're gonna put the engine back in the car and it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be great.
Steven?
That's what we're doing.
Is it going to be great?
Yeah, always.
I always trust Steven.
All right, let's do it. At the Lynch compound.
Doing my best to self-tap this thing into the frame rail here.
That is all we ask of you, Steven.
Yeah.
Do your best.
You can just cut to like a 4 hours later.
3 hours later.
You can take over the channel.
Steven.
Yeah, we try to drill some holes and self-tap this thing, but the frame rail's pretty thick, so yeah, one self-tapper. The other one's just a threaded bolt, so I don't have a riv nut gun here. So I mean, I'm doing my best.
We're limited on tools. We didn't even have the correct drill bits. I had wooden drill bits, like drill bits for wood, and then I had to go to AutoZone to buy these ones. What?
I'm explaining nothing.
We're taking the old fuel pump out to put the new one in. I think the new one is a
I believe it's a 485.
I thought it was a 455.
I don't know. I think
I think I have a 525 though.
I think the next
I don't know
one-
what fuel pump it is. I'm gonna look it up on my phone because Turbo Joe told me exactly which one I needed, and I was just like, all right. Gosh darn it, I hate connectors. It's only because I'm afraid to break my nails.
Are you afraid to break a nail, Steven?
Yeah. I already broke them. See? No, I'm not.
All right, I got it.
The sound of success.
Oh, I have a 255. This is a 255.
Yeah.
Walbro 255.
This should be a 485.
Whoa. Damn, that's got some girth.
Old, new. How are we gonna fit this in that?
That's that's what she said.
Interesting too.
So originally, I was using a Walbro 255 in my car, which was completely fine. There was no problem with this one whatsoever. I could probably sell it if I wanted to, if I had that kind of energy, but I don't. So I have a Walbro 255. This one was fine the entire time. I never had any problems like that. It's just because I want to make a little bit extra power now. Joe, my tuner, suggested that I upgrade my fuel pump and my whole fueling system. So now we're going to be running E85 or 91, and we have a flex fuel sensor for that, and we need a bigger fuel pump in order to do so, and all new fuel lines and everything that relates to fueling. So that's what we're doing now.
Steven!
Chopping this as a connector is not the same. You have to connect.
Bet.
That is all.
Yippee! Woo! Good thing you're the wiring expert. Steven loves wiring. Bring in all of your wiring needs.
Oh yes,
Steven does it all.
Please do.
Yeah, they know, like seriously, Steven loves wiring.
No, yeah, I love it.
He like actually loves it. Like it's not a joke. He loves it.
I love it.
He does.
It's so enjoyable.
It is.
I don't.
It's not a joke.
When does this stop?
It's not a joke. I don't know why he's laughing.
Cam.
It's not a joke.
Can't do a backflip if that's true. What is it? There's no filter here. Like this filter? I need that filter. Yeah, we will have one, you know, the inline one. But this is your first line of defense, you know, because you don't want dirtiness going into the pump, or else it's gonna fit up. You know, so.
God damn, that's some aggressive language.
Dave's like, I'm gonna have to bleep that later.
Sorry. Just takes a couple uses. Okay.
We are rolling. By the way.
Of course. So, apparently the fuel pump fits. The Hellcat fuel pump fits. So that's cool. It sticks out like past the bottom of the fuel pump housing, but it's fine. Fuel pump housing still springs and everything. The only thing that's different is the connector. So we're stripping these wires, and Steven's about to do his favorite thing.
So, with grease tools, not mine.
Yes, it's my taste. Modifying the stock fuel rail right now to be able to put a fitting on there for what?
So we're on a dash 8. Dash 6 line. Dash 6. The blade is so small, it just scares me. This is usually when they explode. So it's crazy because like these look physically smaller, but these are about, what are they, 1,000 cc's free? That's what we bought?
1,200.
1,200? They're 369. 4 times more flow than the stock ones. And they look physically smaller. That's crazy.
We're gonna put this engine back in the car. We cleaned it up as much as we wanted. You guys already know. I've been wanting to clean this swap up for a really long time, and I'm really happy that we got it cleaned up. We deleted all the stuff that didn't need to be here and put all our new parts on. We got new fuel injectors, 1,200 cc, so I'm excited to get the car tuned with those. I have a new turbo on the way and a new wastegate on the way, so we're gonna leave the exhaust manifold off of the engine when we put it in the car right now. For those of you that are thinking about doing a 1JZ swap 350Z, if you don't have an exhaust manifold that's got the V-band flange on it or the T3, you have to put the engine in the car with the exhaust manifold on, because you're not going to be able to do it with the exhaust manifold like being put on later on. You're not going to be able to do it, but because I'm switching to a V-band, I should have enough room to be able to do that. If not, you're going to have to jack your engine up and do it like that. It's a really tight swap, as I've said 3,000 times before. But we got everything done that we wanted to get done. We made a bracket for our fuel pressure regulator, and we have our Haltech flex fuel sensor mounted down there. We have all of our lines replaced and everything, so it's time to mount the engine in the car so that we can work on the fuel lines. So it's gonna be a great time. We're gonna do it now. Yes. We're doing it. We're doing it. Okay, let's go. Wow.
Wow, that was, whoa.
Not smooth.
That's why I hate this thing.
I bet.
Where's the mouse?
Oh, good idea. I mean, get them.
Is it good, Steven?
Hope so.
using that part. Can I take that?
Okay.
Actually, no, Dave, I want to film that part when we move this. Okay, we can go now.
Steven's like,
I thought she was like,
I need to
move something else.
wow.
So that's how you did yourself with your 50.
So easy.
Just kidding.
Literally happened in like 5 minutes.
I know. Easy peasy. I don't know why everybody doesn't do it. Okay. So my engine is pushed back as far as possible in with these motor mounts. So with these motor mounts from Collins, you get these slits right here so you can adjust how far forward and how far back your engine is. For the JZ350Z, you want to push this as far back as possible so that this bolt is all the way up at the front, because obviously this is an inline 6 versus a V6. This is much longer. You need room in the front to do other things like cooling and AC and intercooler stuff.
AC is cooling. Yes?
I don't have AC yet.
It cools the body.
I have a bracket. But yeah, you want your engine to be pushed back as far as possible so that you have enough room in the front to do everything else you need to do. And then also, your oil pan is gonna be really close to your sway bar right here. But that is okay. I can literally not fit 2 fingers right here, but I can fit 1 finger. And I can run it all the way across.
Is that okay?
Not really, but it's fine.
Steven?
It works.
No, it's fine. As long as any clearance is clearance.
This is actually better clearance than the first time. I don't think that my engine was as far back as it should have been the first time. Clearance is definitely very limited, but it's all good. Remember to put your exhaust manifold on before you put your engine in your car. Unless you have a T3 or a V-down.
Don't forget the fluids.
Fluids. It's great. It's a great time. Anyway. What? Steven! Oh my god! There's the intro.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the goddamn tranny's about to fall on you.
What's up, Steven?
What's up, buddy?
It's a whole new day.
So tired.
Same.
It's hot.
Same.
Dying.
You know what I forgot? A microphone.
No, Dave. Right now?
Yep.
Bro.
Like, as a whole?
Yeah. The excitement.
You know how I am at unboxing.
Unwrappings.
So, a little update for you guys. What we have shown you guys so far is exactly what I used with my 1JZ350Z swap. I walked you guys through the Collins adapter kit. We had the engine out of the car in the beginning of this episode, and we put the engine back in the car so that you guys can see exactly how everything fits. It is a tight swap, as I've said multiple times before. I know that we have showed you guys all of the upgrades that I've been doing. Mind you, not completely necessary to run a stock JZ in a 350Z. I've gone a long time without all of these upgrades that I'm doing now, but it is time for me to evolve as a driver and evolve with my car. So, we got the fuel pressure regulator mounted. We told you guys that we mounted that to the intake manifold so they can come out with the engine. We got our flex fuel sensor mounted right down here on the chassis, and we've got a couple more things that we do want to move around, but this is basically the idea of the swap. Told you guys that the engine needs to be pushed back as far as possible so that you have enough room in the front for all of your cooling needs. And I also told you guys that the exhaust manifold needs to go on the engine when you put the engine in the car. You can't put the exhaust manifold on the engine with the engine already in the car. It is way too tight unless if you decide to do like a tube front end or something like that, or you ridiculously hammer the crap out of your firewall, which I would not suggest because that is this is the shock tower right here and you don't want to do that, and you got a brake line right here, so you won't do that either. But do as you please. The reason that I don't have my exhaust manifold on with the engine in the car right now is because I decided to upgrade my turbo. Now you don't have to do that when you put the JZ in the 350Z, it's not necessary. We dropped my exhaust manifold off to Castro Motorsport earlier, and he's going to modify my exhaust manifold so that I can have a V-band flange on it instead of the T4 flange that I was running. If you guys are gonna do a top mount turbo, I would suggest that you run a T3 because it's much easier to find gaskets and the parts are a little bit more sourceable. You can get them a lot faster than a T4. Just learn from my mistakes. So Castro Motorsport has the exhaust manifold now, so I might be able to put the exhaust manifold back on the engine with the engine already in the car because it should shrink the size of my flange by quite a bit. And so today we're gonna do the fuel line. My goal for this episode is basically just to have this car running for you guys so you could see it with an empty engine bay and see the entire swap. So that if you want a JZ swap with 350Z, you can just refer to this video and get my watch time up. So today we're gonna do the fuel line stuff. So it's gonna be great. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your post notifications. Follow me on Instagram. Follow Steven on Instagram. Follow Dave on Instagram. Follow Cam on Instagram.
Walk away.
What are you doing, Cam? Come here.
Now you're saying that.
What's up, Steven?
What's cracking?
Oh, you alright?
Yeah, got dust on my nose.
Fuck. You got insurance, Bree?
What? Alright you guys, a little bit of an intermission here. There are a couple updates that I want to give you with the car. The fuel lines are almost completely routed. I am going to show those to you guys when we're done. Didn't really feel like it was necessary to show you guys the whole entire process because it takes a long time to route fuel lines, and we're routing mostly hard lines, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But if you guys remember from Demo Car episode 7, I did talk to my buddy Chris over at Castro Motorsport about upgrading my turbo on my car. There's nothing wrong that I have with the turbo right now per se, it's just I've always complained about the boost lag and how long my turbo takes to spool. It literally takes until about 5,400 RPM for me to actually get into my power band that I'm looking for in order to be able to drift, which just does not help me on the straightaway. I lose people very quickly. So I actually upgraded my turbo, and the turbo is here today. So I dropped my exhaust manifold off to him earlier for him to start modifying my old exhaust manifold because I will be running a V-band setup. So let's go inside, watch Chris fab up my new exhaust manifold, and take a look at that brand new turbo. So I just got into the shop and it looks like Chris has already started on the exhaust manifold. Oh my gosh. Pro tip, I actually had Chris order my new turbo for me because he works with Garrett and he was able to get this much faster than I was. So he already had the turbo here to be able to mock up the V-band for the exhaust manifold. So I really wanted to be able to have a much faster setup. And this should actually make it easier for me to take the exhaust manifold off with the engine in the car, which is really exciting because you basically have to pull the engine to be able to do anything on the exhaust side of the car. Wow, so this is done that fast. Now we're gonna come over here and put the turbo back together.
This is obviously a way better turbo than you had before.
Yeah.
This is dual ball bearing, has the anti-surge housing, billet wheel. It's made by Garrett. And this will definitely spool way faster than your old turbo.
Do you know what would make this one spool faster than my old one? Just like off the top of your head.
This is a legit turbo. In my opinion, this is one of my favorite turbos. It's pretty affordable and it's like pretty compact for what it's capable of. I think this is like a 600-700 horsepower rated turbo.
Wow.
You know, you can't compare this turbo to a Chinese turbo.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited. I'm glad that we decided to go this route. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Alright you guys, it has been a couple of days since I've seen you last. We finished routing the fuel line, so I am going to show you that today. I didn't want you guys to have to sit through the torture of routing fuel lines like we did because it took a very long time. Hard lines are difficult to work with, but we got it done. I also picked up my exhaust manifold from Castro Motorsports. I actually had Chris over at Castro weld a V-band onto my existing exhaust manifold for me so that I could run a V-band turbo. I also got a new turbo. Chris ordered that for me from Garrett. It is a GTX 3582R. Very excited for it because he and Joe say that it's going to make me spool much faster, so I'm very excited for that. I will show you guys that. We're going to put the exhaust manifold on the car today. We're going to put the turbo on the car. We're going to put the front end back on. I am going to show you guys the fuel lines and how we routed everything because it's so much cleaner than the last time that I had my fuel lines. And that should be about it. Make sure that you stick around until the end of the video though, because in order to fit your front end onto the 350Z and still have some room, there are a couple weird little things you have to do, so I am going to show that to you guys. But really quick, we will show you how we routed the fuel lines. They're so clean. Alright, so to start off for showing you guys the fueling system and how we did everything, the Z is a returnless fuel system. If you know, originally it's a returnless fuel system, but the JZ requires a return fuel line. So what you have to do is you can basically just modify your stock fuel pump housing. So this is your original feed line, of course, so we just put fittings on this, and then for the return, what we did was we just modified the stock fuel pump housing and just put a compression fitting on here for the return line. and that's pretty much it. And then you just hook up your return line to the JZ and it works. So there's that. I will now show you guys how we routed the fuel lines. So if you look under here, you can see that we took our soft lines from the return line and from the feed line, and we dragged them down here in between the tank and the chassis. And then we have some fittings down here to connect them to our hard lines. And our hard lines go all the way through here where the stock fuel lines were actually resting on the chassis.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's so clean.
That's clean.
It's so clean. And then also we use the stock fuel line routing location. Basically just went straight from back here. We made like a little bend, went all the way up to the front, and then in the front, I will show you what we did from there. So if you guys look up here, you can see where we dragged the fuel lines out from when they were originally routed. Like I said, these are not completely secure yet. We just routed them to mock them up. So we basically take them underneath the transmission, we run them along the subframe, and then they come out over here. So now we're gonna put the exhaust manifold on the engine to finish buttoning this car up. If you are not running a V-band setup, you have to have the exhaust manifold on the engine when you put the engine in the car, because if not, you will be hitting the shock tower. But I have a V-band because I just got this welded at Castro Motorsports. So can you show them some footage of that?
Enter epic B-roll.
Yes. Trying to put this in here.
I haven't done this yet. This is yours.
I know, yeah. I tried it before and it was working.
She messaged me at like 9 p.m. It fits.
It does fit. It just rubs against this a little tiny bit.
Big one, right?
Yeah, the big one. You might scoot it. There it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, get the bolts.
Dude, look at this, it's tight. Can you give for representation or for?
This is my pinky.
Wow.
Barely fits. All right, you guys, so here's my front end. We're about to put that on the car right now. If you can see, what I did was I just trimmed my radiator support all along here in order to be able to fit the radiator with the JZ and the 350Z. Now, if you don't want to cut your radiator support, you don't have to. I just did this for simplicity so that I can take the radiator out from the top. It will actually fit without the radiator core cut. And I'm not running pull fans like most people do. I actually decided to run push fans because when you run pull fans, you're probably going to hit all of this because there's literally no space when you put the front end on the car. This is a radiator for a Mark IV Supra. Something that I do suggest to you guys to clean your swap up if you are doing the swap yourself is to cut this coolant neck right here, flip it around, literally like 180 it, and then make it so that this outlet is coming out on this side, so it's facing like this. So just have that welded, and then this way you can get a radiator with an inlet right up here instead of on this side, because if not, if you do have the VVTi, it's a little bit difficult when it comes to your upper radiator hose. Got the front end on. Like I said, you do have some space here if you did want to put fans here. It's just, honestly, to me, it's not worth the risk. When it comes to the intercooler, I will show you guys what I had to do in order to fit the intercooler. I think I have the stock bumper support for the front. I basically just cut that around the shape of the intercooler so that I could fit it originally, and I had no problems with that for a long time. But now I have a very pretty bash bar from Zakustek, so that's what I run now, but I will try to find that so I can show you guys. All right, this is what my OEM bumper support looked like, and as you can see, I literally just trimmed it originally when I did my swap just to fit the intercooler, so it's not a lot of trimming. That's probably like half an inch maybe. I ran that for a really long time and I never had any issues, but I also never hit anything in the front of my car, so now I've got this pretty bash bar that gives me plenty of room in the front. Alright you guys, honestly it is getting pretty late and we have to get this car ready to be tuned tomorrow, so I'm gonna close this video out here. We do have a couple things left to do. We still gotta do like transmission fluid, coolant, oil, all those things. I don't feel like you guys need to suffer through that with us, so I'm gonna close out here. If you guys have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you found this video helpful to you if you are trying to 1JZ swap your 350Z. We are gonna be getting the car tuned tomorrow, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. That's our thing. You know how we do? You know how we do these things, Dave?
All about the drama.
We are all about the drama. Well, you guys, one more thing before I go that I did want to mention to you. I finally got my website up and running. We have merch on the website now. We've got some stickers that we're selling, hero cards. Yes, those stickers, those stickers. So, if you guys want to get a sticker of the version 1 livery, make sure that you go to my website and grab one of those stickers. The link is below. It's www.helmethairr.com. And I finally made a P.O. box. A lot of people have asked me if they could send me stuff. It took forever to make a P.O. box, but I finally made one, so is the address right here on the screen somewhere?
It'll be like right here.
Okay, sick. Yeah, so the address is right there on the screen if you want to send me something. But either way, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye!